Welcome back to Brandon Sports here, everybody. Hope you're having an amazing day. I'm here for my Monday Night Raw review for January 5th, 2026. This was the first Monday Night Raw of the new year. My overall thoughts on the show is that this show is absolutely horrible. This show is worse than how I'm describing it. My facial expression of pure disgust is just not enough for how bad this show was tonight. This was the worst show under Triple H of Monday Night Raw that I've ever seen. This was bad. The crowd was bad. We're going to get into the entire breakdown, but I just want to give you guys my overall thoughts. This show was horrible. The ending was horrible. The beginning was horrible. There was one good thing, and not everybody would even consider it a good thing, and it was Gunther and AJ Styles. But then at the end of that one, I was also upset about that because they absolutely did that wrong as well. The beginning of it was good. At the end, they did it wrong. This show, I cannot describe to you guys how bad this was. I can't. I'm not going to yell. I'm not going to get angry. It's just depressing how bad this show was tonight. I can't believe it. We're going to get into it. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe button to the channel for more great content that will be coming your way. Now, as far as this entire show, the beginning of the show, I'm telling you guys, I'm perplexed about how bad this show was. I really am. I'm taken aback. This show is basically brought to you by Stranger Things. I don't know why Stranger Things. I don't care about it. Who gives a damn about it? I sure don't. This show was just so terrible. And I know people say, well, you complain and you complain every week about the shows being bad. I just want good booking and good creative behind it. This show was nothing but title changes. Spoiler alert. This show was title changes and a bad booking finish at the end. This is what this show was. The overall summation of the show was title changes to get the crowd to be in it, which they were not in it. This Brooklyn crowd was horrible. This Brooklyn crowd was the worst Brooklyn crowd I think I've ever heard in my life. The crowd was terrible. They came alive twice, during CM Punk's entrance, and they were booing Gunther. Even Jimmy and Jay Uso couldn't get the crowd hyped up. This was shockingly bad. The crowd was awful. The theme, the set, everybody thought it looked good. I thought it looked horrible. I don't care about Stranger Things. I don't care. If you watch Stranger Things and you like it, that's on you. I don't care about it. I don't at all. This is another corporate kiss-ass move to put Stranger Things, because Raw's on Netflix, they have to combine with Stranger Things. Who cares about Stranger Things? I don't. I sure do not. This was horrible, and I blame solely everything on Triple H. This was a terrible show. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. This was horrible. Anyway, we're going to get to the show. The show opens up with a Stranger Things filler appearing on the screen as we overlook the Barclays Center. It was okay looking, but didn't really care about it. We then head inside the arena as things begin to go airy. The screen flips upside down because, I guess Stranger Things, the screen flips upside down. I don't know this stuff. I just don't care about it. The screen goes upside down. Michael Cole and Corey Graves come out out of a radio van. The Vision is shown walking backstage with a very, very focused Braun Breaker. World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk is also in the building. Finn Balor, Liv Morgan, Roxanne Perez, Raquel Rodriguez are then shown arriving together. Bayley and Lara Valkyria are then shown riding a bicycle with a cart. Becky Lynch then makes her arrival. Michael Cole and Corey Graves welcome us to the show, and the pyrotechnics go off. You can afford pyro for this stupid stuff, but you can't afford pyro to actually open the show every week with a theme song and get us hyped up, welcome us into the show. But instead, because it's Stranger Things, you have now, all of a sudden, now you guys have the budget to give us pyro when pyro is needed every single week because the look of the show is absolutely disgusting. The pyrotechnics go off as they head to ringside. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky then make their way down to the ring for the first match of the night. This is for the Women's World Tag Team titles. It's Io Sky and Rhea Ripley versus the Kabuki Warriors. As you guys know, I don't do play-by-play. I'm not doing those play-by-play. This match was basically decent. I'm scrolling down because I'm just getting to the end of it. This was just absolutely... The match was decent. Did I care about the finish of it? No, I did not. Io then hits a kick and a running double knee strike against the ropes. Rhea then tags in and Rhea hits the riptide and Io hits a moonsault. Io then hits a suicide dive on Zayn and Rhea gets the win. Your winners and new women's tag team champions is Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. And there's one thing I want to say about this. This was a bad decision. You should have had them retain. I told you guys, because Rhea Ripley and Io Sky are in the tag team division, it takes away from the women's world title. And when I'm going to give you guys a little bit of spoiler alert, when you get to the women's world title scene, it's absolutely a disgraceful scene as well between the continued feud of Stephanie Valkyrie and Raquel Rodriguez. We'll get to that later. It was a good match for what this was. The crowd was not into it. I'm not lying to you guys. You can go look at it yourselves after you get done watching my review. The crowd was not into it at all. My facial expression is in pure disgust. This crowd was awful. This is the worst I've ever heard of a New York crowd. The crowd was awful. The match was decent, but nobody cared. They won a match. They got a pop at the end. A little pop, not even a big pop at the end. You're neglecting the women's world title scene. You're neglecting the women's world title scene. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky did not need this at all whatsoever. It's like, you guys ever get so mad where you just can't yell, you're just so disgusted that you just gotta just get through it? That's how I feel right now. I'm glad to be in front of you guys and everybody watching the review. I have no problem doing the review, but watching this was dreadful. Io Sky and Rhea Ripley did not need this win. The Kabuki Warriors needed it more because they've been beating up on Kairi Sane this whole entire time. They've been pinning Kairi Sane the entire time as a tag team champion. I told you guys last week I had a problem with that. The reason why I had a problem with that, because you don't pin your champion. Going into this match, you would think, okay, you're pinning your champion, or the babyface wins, that means the heel's going to get their get back, and they didn't. What was the point of having all these matches? What was the point of the 8-woman tag team matches on SmackDown these past couple weeks? What was the point of all of this? So after the match, the Pyro went off on the stage and the new champion celebrate. Again, you got Pyro to do all this, but you can't give people Pyro on their entrances. You only give Pyro when you're doing a collaboration, not even on a pay-per-view. Sometimes you do, but the pay-per-view sets are so awful that when you do the Pyro, you got to look up and look at the Pyro because everything is so cramped in. Io and Rhea get pyrotechnics. Again, I don't really care about this. It was a decent match, but who cares? They should never won the titles. They should have let the Kabuki Warriors retain their tag team titles so they can go off and face Charlotte Flair and Bliss, and had Rhea Ripley go into the women's world title scene. I know everybody hates it, but it is what it is. They're lacking right now. The women's world title scene has nothing. Io Sky can go after the Intercontinental Women's Championship scene after this. A horrible opening to the show. No nothing. Corey Graves might call open to the show. Then we get to this match. The crowd wasn't into it, and we got absolutely nothing. So after the match, we then get a video package of CM Punk and Braun Breaker. That's fine. We then head to the back where Adam Pearce is congratulating Io and Rhea Ripley on their win. Pearce then stops Gunther and he says there are a ton of eyes on him. Pearce then says everyone has seen how Gunther has acted since he beat Cena. Pearce then says you can go out there and get it off your chest. Pearce then suggests Gunther show some respect. I might get really angry when I get to Adam Pearce later in the show and the segment that happened with Javon Evans. Little spoiler alert for you guys. Adam Pearce needs to go. They need to either change his character or he needs to go because he's not good in his role. Give it to somebody else. They have to do something because this yelling, I need a drink, even though he didn't say that tonight. The screaming that he does, it's annoying, man. It is annoying. I understand he's more of a character now than he was when Roman Reigns and the Bloodline was torturing him and he cut that promo on Ronda Rousey, but now it's just too much now. It's too much, and I'm going to show you guys when we get to that segment of why this was too much. And by the way, I didn't care to see Adam Pearce tell Gunther he has to show some respect when he tapped out John Cena. Why are you telling him that he needs to show respect when he literally keeps calling John Cena a bitch every single week? I don't need the GM telling me that the top heel in the company, that's supposed to be a top heel in the company, has to show respect. Gunther makes his way down to the ring. He holds up a shirt featuring John Cena tapping out that reads, tapped out like a little bitch. Gunther grabs a mic and starts off by saying he has been asked by management to show respect. We just saw that. So we know you've been asked that, which was the dumbest thing. Whoever wrote that, may you find another job that's paying this well, because you don't deserve this one. Gunther then asks for some respect for him, which I like that part. Gunther then says, respect for the man who made John Cena do the one thing he said that he would never do. Gunther then says, show respect to the man who made John Cena tap out like a little, and then AJ Styles' music hits. AJ Styles interrupts him. He makes his way down to the ring to disrespect Gunther. Gunther then says, if AJ is one to talk about respect, you are punching above your weight. Gunther then says, they know that he is the greatest wrestler in the company. Gunther then says, that includes you. Gunther then says, he is the man that made John Cena tap out like a little you-know-what to AJ Styles. Gunther then chuckles heavily before saying, like a little bitch. Gunther then says, that leaves them with one question. Gunther then says, what is little AJ going to do about it? Gunther then shows AJ that he cannot see him. So when they're face to face, he does the John Cena, you can't see me. And by the way, every single time that Gunther, what I just repeated was his promo, he kept cutting AJ Styles off every time AJ Styles tried to talk. This is where it turns into, I actually enjoyed the beginning of this. I was telling you guys that earlier. I enjoyed the beginning of this. But there was one problem that I had, and which is coming up right now. AJ slaps Gunther. They go face to face. They're mad at each other. They're face to face, intense. AJ then tells Gunther that's what he thought. He basically told him to do something. Basically do something in each other's face. They're angry at each other. He says to do something. He said, that's what I thought. AJ then tells Gunther that that's what he thought. He's going to do nothing. AJ then tosses the mic at Gunther and he leaves the ring. I thought this was a total burial of Gunther. And people can say, oh, it's not a burial, No, you slap somebody, and as a heel, you're supposed to fight the babyface and get into a brawl. Listen, I'm tired of these stupid brawls that they have in the company, but this warranted it. What the hell? Who wrote this? And what were they thinking? This was absolutely disgraceful whoever wrote this segment. We get a video package of Becky Lynch and Maxine Dupree, which I cared nothing about. I'm telling you guys, take my word for it how bad this show was tonight. We then head to the back where Ivy now tells Adam Pearce she isn't going to the back of the line. Let me just stop right there. I'm going to stop it right there because I'm angry today. I'm angry. Who told Ivy now that she was important enough to be the Women's Intercontinental Champion? This company has not made us care enough about this woman. And because she has some problem with Maxine Dupree, she thinks that she's entitled to just be in Maxine Dupree's face. You're supposed to enjoy wrestling and enjoy it for what it is, but my God, do they make it hard. This was unbelievably, disgustingly bad. I can't put it into words. I don't curse on here. I try to be professional, but I'm on the borderline of it. She says she's not going to wait at the back of the line if anybody cares. Pearson says we have to wait until the match is over tonight before we know what is next. Gunther then shows up and says he wants AJ. Now, this made me even more angry. I'm already fed up with this show at this point already. I'm not fed up with the review because I'm letting you guys know how I feel. I'm fed up with the show already. Gunther, another emasculation of Gunther. This is part 2. Part 1 I just read to you guys. Here's part 2. Part 2, he says, I want AJ right now. I want AJ. I want AJ. Follow me here. AJ then shows up and he asks if Gunther is going to complain to the boss. AJ then says, you will complain or be a little B-I-T-C-H. Or be a B-I-T-C-H rather. Gunther then says he wants AJ next week. And by the way, when the crowd starts booing because they're not going to get the match, you guys know you're not getting the match because they ain't dressed for it. And you ain't getting it. So the crowd boos because they know you're not going to get the match when they're going to announce it for next week. You guys, as a matter of fact, you guys didn't even deserve the match. So I don't know why you guys are booing. You guys were a horrible crowd in Brooklyn, so you guys didn't deserve the match either way. Because you guys weren't going to cheer or boo or anything like that. You guys are a horrible crowd. Gunther then says he wants AJ next week, and Pearce makes the match official. Now let me go back for a second. Gunther walks up to Adam Pearce and says, I want AJ. AJ then walks into the shot. It's basically saying, what are you going to do? You're going to complain to the boss like a little B-I-T-C-H. Here's the problem. They're backstage and he's just standing there saying, I want AJ. He's screaming and pointing downward. I want AJ. I want AJ. Is this the man who beat John Cena or what? The beginning of the AJ Styles segment was good. I thought it was a little bit funny when he kept cutting him off. He wouldn't let him talk. But then it got serious and they totally emasculated Gunther right there. I don't care what nobody says. Go back and watch his promo. It was good at the beginning. It was horrible at the end. And them going backstage and complaining even more. And he still didn't do nothing. What's the point of being a heel in the company if you're not going to beat somebody up backstage? And the one thing that I said to myself after AJ Styles and Gunther came out of the ring, I said, right now the proper thing for Gunther to do is that you got slapped. So when you go into the backstage arena and AJ Styles getting ready to leave, whatever the case may be, you attack him from behind and beat him up. Even though I'm getting sick of these brawls, this would have been the warranted one. You guys cannot fathom how bad this show was today. Becky Lynch then makes her way down to the ring for the next match of the night with Maxine Dupree. All in all, this match was okay. I didn't really have a problem with the match at all. I just don't care about Maxine Dupree. She's getting better. Let me not say that. She is getting better. However, I don't care. Now, Becky then goes up under and sets up for a powerbomb, but Dupree counters into an ankle lock. Becky then rolls through, but Dupree holds on. Becky then rolls through and holds on to the ropes for the win. Basically, Becky Lynch beat Maxine Dupree, which was not needed. Why did you even put the championship on this woman? If you were going to beat her, 2 to 3 weeks later? Not even a month? Are you out of your mind? Now Becky Lynch is a heel. She could be champion. Now she got to brag about it. And she's a 2-time Women's Intercontinental Championship. I told you guys from when I first started this review about wrestling, they should have never created the Women's IC title and the Women's United States Championship. What they should have done was create one championship and call it the Women's European Championship and defended it across both brands and made it important. There was no reason to create 2 titles. Stop trying to have the women copy everything that men do. Women can stand out alone and be themselves and have a different path. Not every single championship needs to be the same. This company has no originality. They can't book worth a damn. They can't do nothing right. Becky Lynch is the Women's Intercontinental Championship. I thought Maxine Dupree did okay in this match. I'm not going to be too hard on her. She's still learning. She's getting better. I just don't care. The vintages with Natty I cared about. But other than that, I don't really care anything else about it. Now Becky Lynch, we got to go through this. Now she's a good heel, but now we got to go through this thing. Oh, she's a heel. She's bragging about it. Sports Illustrated said this and that and blah, blah, blah. Maxine Dupree did look good in this match. She looked like she took control. Some of it looked choreographed at the end, but I thought all in all it was a decent match. I don't have no problem with the match. I have a problem with the outcome. Again, another title change tonight, which means once these titles started changing, I'm like, oh, okay, CM Punk might really retain, but let's see what happens. After the match, again, we get pyro for another title change. Remember, this is 3 sets of pyro going off in one night. Because TKO owns WWE, I thought that they would be cheap and not do it. I told you guys, TKO buying WWE was the worst thing that ever happened to the company. I understand Triple H being in charge of creative, but Vince McMahon being out. I get that point. But TKO owning the company and Mark Shapiro being the CEO of the company just lets me know that they don't care about wrestling. And Vince McMahon, when he sold it to these clowns, that he didn't care either, and he was just trying to make some money. Because TKO should not be in the wrestling business. I told you one day I'm going to make a video about that company. I can't stand TKO, and I can't stand Mark Shapiro. I told y'all that. And the reason why I can't stand Mark Shapiro, by the way, is because of that stupid comment that he made about Vince McMahon not basically overpricing the tickets, and that he made it available for families. That's one thing I liked about Vince McMahon, that he made tickets affordable for families. And Mark Shapiro had the nerve to come out and say that. That is such an insult and a slap to the face of the fans who pay money to come watch this product that is dog ass that we got to sit here and go through. And as a fan of the business, I keep trying to tell you guys how much I love the professional wrestling business. If I had the money, I would start my own promotion. That's how much I love wrestling. The title belts, the look of it, everything that comes with professional wrestling, I love about the business. I take this business seriously. So when you have clowns like Mark Shapiro and TKO running this company when they don't care and all they trying to do is make a buck, that offends me. It offends the fan in me and the childhood kid in me that watches this product as an adult. So Becky Lynch gets the pyro, she wins. So after the match, Becky celebrates and her pyro goes off. I just told you about that. Sorry about that long rant. I'm just frustrated with this show. We then get an Oprah Finley video package. We then see WWE Women's World Champion Stephanie Valkyrie gingerly in the back in a walking boot. Oh no, here we go again. So this is another part where Adam Pearce makes me frustrated, and this is where Triple H just comes into the picture because they have no common sense, no common courtesy, nothing. Adam Pearce in the aisle. Now this is during commercial break. I'm bracing you guys for this. This was in commercial break. Adam Pearce is in the aisle. He says there have been some new faces on Raw and on SmackDown, but none of them are more exciting than this man. We then get a video package of Javon Evans. Pearce then brings out Javon Evans. Pearce says Evans is one of the most exciting prospects in WWE. Pearce then says he wants to bring Evans out, and Brooklyn's offering him a Raw contract. Evans then signs the contract. I lie to you not. This was one of the worst things that they did tonight. How the hell do you introduce somebody on your main roster? Yes, he's been on the main roster before, but you're signing him to a contract, and you do it on a commercial break? Are you out of your mind? I already said Javon Evans not going to get a good deal out of this. They don't know what they have in him. The fact that he was in NXT for all this time and did not win not one championship, they barely know how to book the show now. What are you going to do with Javon Evans? Is everything going to be bouncy? I felt bad for Javon Evans. I said, you know what? As a matter of fact, if he left this company in 5 years, I wouldn't blame him. I saw Brian Alvarez and I think it was Dave Meltzer talking about it, that they don't know what they have in this guy, and they don't know what they have in him. One of the best prospects I think I've ever seen this young in a company and this exciting, and you bring him out during a commercial break. The insult. And then Triple H wants to take that dumbass picture in the back pointing at Javon Evans. Ooh, we're going to get bouncy. Whatever he put. This was bad. How do you introduce a new talent like this? So after that debacle with Adam Pearce, we get Jimmy and Jey Uso. They make their way out. Jay says the Usos are now in your city. The same shtick that they do every time. And by the way, if you're going to put the Usos back together, at least give them back their original entrance. Jey Uso does not need to yeet every single week. It's getting old and played out. And let me just set the stage up for a second. They come out. The music is going. It cuts off. The crowd is not into it. They're booing a little bit. Then you have the people that was sitting right next to him saying, run it back. So then he goes like this, the stupid, when he does it with his hand, and they run it back. If you guys really want to know the origin of the whole run it back thing, They did that when they was in Saudi Arabia, and Jey Uso is out there, and he did it 9 times. That was the original origin of this whole run it back thing. That was the original. I don't know if you guys, it's on YouTube. It's a WWE exclusive on YouTube about how Jey Uso, they was like, go again, do it again, go. And then he did it like 7 to 8, even almost 9 times. He ran it back with the entrance music. Enough. We get it. 4 letters, 1 word, yeet. We get it already. Enough. You're the Usos, not Jay and Jimmy. You're the Usos. Jimmy then says it's the first Raw of the year with the new World Tag Team Champions. Jay then says AJ Styles and Dragon Lee, they appreciate the match last week. Jimmy then says that was last week and that was last year. He repeated it twice. This was an awful promo by these two. I'm surprised. Jay then says this is the year of the Usos. Jay then says this is the warning shot to all tag teams. I like that part. Warning shot. He said bang. I like that. I did like that part. Other than that, Jimmy then says they're the best tag team in the game, which we already knew that. Jimmy then says if anyone wants some, they will be waiting here. 4 letters, 1 word, yeet. And then after that, they start yeeting. And I kind of noticed that Jay told Jimmy that he was offbeat. And then they did their little hand signature dap. And then they go to the back. This segment was awful. Jimmy and Jay, I'm surprised that they let them go out there and do this promo. Why would you have them go out there? The crowd was horrible. They tried to hype the crowd up. It did not work. The yeeting is getting old, and I'm tired of it. Get back to Jimmy Jey Uso. And Jimmy, again, I keep trying to tell you guys, he's more charismatic than his brother Jay. It's no disrespect. He deserves a single push, but now he's in a tag team, which I don't mind it. Fine. At least AJ Styles, the title is off of him. But anyway, up next, we get Jackie Redmond is now in the ring. She brings up WWE Women's Champion Stephanie Valkyrie. Jackie brings up what Stephanie did in 2025, and she asks what's next. Stephanie says 2025 was amazing. Stephanie then says she won 4 titles, debuted on Raw, was on Evolution. Stephanie then says she became WWE Women's World Champion. Stephanie then takes the mic, and she thanks everyone for believing her. Stephanie then says last week she ended the best year of her career by retaining the championship. Stephanie then says she will continue in 2026. She then points to her foot and says this won't stop her. Stephanie then says she wants everyone, basically she wants to fight everyone. Stephanie then says she will prove that she is the greatest luchadora on the planet. Raquel Rodriguez then attacks Stephanie Valkyrie from behind. She then punches Stephanie Valkyrie, then slams the injured foot on the mat. Raquel then hits a Tahita bomb, however you want to call it, on Stephanie Valkyrie. Raquel then gets a chair and she brings it into the ring, but officials come into the ring and Raquel stomps on the ankle. Raquel then puts the ankle in the chair and Adam Pearce pulls the chair away and throws it to the floor. My incoming Adam Pearce rant is upcoming, but before I get to that, Raquel Rodriguez attacking Stephanie Valkyrie. I didn't care nothing about this. I don't know what's wrong with Stephanie Valkyrie, if she's legitimately injured or not. If she is, I hope she recovers, and I hope they don't have to strip her of the women's world title, because if they do that, I do not want to see Raquel Rodriguez win the world title. There's no disrespect to her. I know she works hard. I like Raquel Rodriguez as a person or what she represents, but this feud is not it. Them turning her into a quote-unquote bully heel, I don't really care for it. Again, she's a part of Judgment Day. And her being a part of Judgment Day, what's the story with that? They didn't have the backstage segment put in together, anything like that. They're not asking Liv Morgan why is she acting crazy? Why is she going up? Because she lost? That's the reason. So now we got to run this feud back again. Where's Nikki Bella? Hell, you might as well run back Drip with that match again. I didn't care nothing about this. Again, I told you they're neglecting the women's world title scene and this company, but they want to get some heat on Raquel Rodriguez. But guess what? I don't care about Raquel Rodriguez. I care about Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez more than I care about Raquel Rodriguez, and that's not the fault of me. That's the fault of the company, because you put Liv Morgan basically in charge of the Judgment Day with Finn Balor. And then you put Roxanne Perez in next, which I still don't get. What's the storyline with that? We're waiting for Dominic Mysterio? Again, too much. This was just, I didn't care about nothing about it. Stephanie Valkyrie is too talented to be going through this. We then see Stephanie is still being held to back, and Raquel Rodriguez attacks her again. She sends her into the storage cases. Raquel then stands on the ankle. Pierce then pulls Raquel off Stephanie, and he says he will find her until she has nothing. Pierce then tells Raquel to leave the building. Here's my problem. This is where I get mad at Adam Pearce again. Let me tell you guys something. When this is going on and she's throwing her into the storage cases, Adam Pearce is screaming at the top of his lungs. And he says, what I just read, I will find you until you have nothing left. And I'm like, dude, how corny are you? How corny are you? I'm going to find you. I keep trying to tell y'all, it's worse than what I'm describing it. I'm telling you, this is worse than what I'm describing. This is worse than what I'm describing. I'll keep repeating myself because it's the truth. He says, I'm going to fire you to have nothing, instead of saying, I'm going to fire your ass if you don't stop putting your foot on my women's world champion. That's what he should have said. I'm going to fire, dude, what are you doing? Then after that, Stephanie Valkyria's on the ground. They say, get her out of the building. He's yelling at the top of his lungs, just getting on my nerves. I'm already irritated at this show. I'm bored. Then he says to the paramedics, because Raquel Rodriguez knocked him down, paramedics, get off your ass and get over here. I'm like, dude, your women's wrestler who's 6 foot tall damn near knocked them over. And you tell them to get off their ass to come help Stephanie Valkyria. When a wrestler who's supposed to be stronger than them, and by the way, those paramedics look like indie wrestlers. They didn't look like paramedics. Can't even get that right. Next up, Michael Cole brings up the situation between Rey Mysterio and the Vision, which I don't understand why we're going through this. We look at what happened last week when Penta came out to help Rey. We then see Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee in the locker room talking. Rey says Lee will be champion again. He's basically pushing and motivating Dragon Lee. I don't care nothing about this. Dragon Lee then thanks Rey and he says he's going to go talk to AJ, which means AJ Styles. Penta then shows up and says he helped Rey because he didn't like what the Vision was doing. Again, why is Penta... Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful, shout out to Sean Ross Sapp. He made a good point on Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it. Penta is with every single luchador in the company except for his brother. Put the Lucha Brothers back together in WWE. What is the point of all of this? I'm telling you guys, I'm so frustrated right now. You guys have no idea. Just no idea how my blood's boiling right now. And if wrestling can make your blood boil this much, that means I guess I care too much. He then talks about Logan Paul and Austin Theory. Rey then says he has been dealing with them for weeks and he knew that Penta would have his back. He then says he knows about the honor and respect for Lucha Libre. Penta then tells Rey anytime he needs him, he is here. That will play out, spoiler alert, later in the night. That exact phrasing would play out later on. By the way, throughout this entire promo, the only thing that I can hear is Lyra Valkyria's music going off. I hear everybody going, woo, and woo, and woo, and woo. And I'm just, at this point, I'm like, I can barely hear Rey Mysterio Penta. I'm fed up by now. My blood is boiling at the show at this point. Lyra Valkyria and Bayley make their way down to the ring for another useless match. Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez follow. We're going to skip to the end of the match because, again, nobody cared about this match at all. Liv Morgan, congratulations on getting back in the ring after being out for 7 months. Lyra then hits a series of strikes, but Perez pulls the ropes open and Lyra goes to the floor with Liv. While Liv distracts the referee, Bayley then goes after Perez, but the referee gets in the way. Perez then hits a punch and sends Bayley over the ringside barrier. Bayley then grabs Roxanne and chases her with a chair. So basically, they both went in the ring and then jumped out of the ring again. She chased her, whatever the case may be. Then Lyra Valkyria is looking to the right and she says, Bayley, but she shouldn't be worried about that. She should be focused on the match. She's hanging on the ropes. This one I knew it was over. Liv Morgan hit the Oblivion for the win. Liv Morgan wins her return match after being gone for over 7 months. Again, congratulations to the winners of the matches. Basically, the Judgment Day's Liv Morgan. We then head to the back where Jackie Redmond is with CM Punk. She asks, how is he preparing for Braun? Punk says everyone has an opinion, and they would rather talk about him than themselves. Punk then says it does not matter. Punk then says, if he is the underdog, you are underestimating him. We then see Byron Saxton interview with Logan Paul and Austin Theory. Byron asks them about the main event. Logan says he hears Rey and Penta talking about them. He then says everyone loves them, which is, I guess they're being booed. I didn't really care about this at all. Austin then takes the mic and says when it comes to the Vision, it is not a breakout night. Austin then says it is a confirmation that when Braun becomes the new world champion, it is because it was his dream, but their next step. Logan then says he has seen Braun's potential from the beginning. He then says they are not the future, they are the now. Logan then says they are taking everything. It is announced that next week Gunther faces AJ Styles when a special start time of Raw airs at 2 p.m. Eastern because they will be overseas. And yes, I will be available for that review at 2 p.m. Braun then makes his way down to the ring with Paul Heyman for the main event of the night, and CM Punk follows. Now, I'm not going to lie, this match was kind of slow, but it did pick up. The crowd started getting into it, which I'll give them their credit. Punk hits a running knee into the corner, followed by a short arm clothesline. Punk then goes up to the top, and he hits an elbow drop. Punk then signals it is time for the GTS, and Heyman gets on the apron. Punk then goes over to Heyman, and Bronson Reed comes to the ring with Logan and Austin Theory. Punk then stops him with punches. Braun then hits Punk from behind, and Punk collides with the referee, sends the referee out of the ring. Austin then hits a curb stomp, and Braun gets a near fall. Bronson Reed put the referee back in the ring when Austin hit a curb stomp. CM Punk kicks out of the curb stomp. Reed then removes the cover of the announce desk. Dragon Lee, Penta, and Rey Mysterio then come out, and Lee hits a head scissors on Austin Theory. Reed then catches Rey, and Penta and Lee hit some super kicks on Reed, and Rey hits a DDT. Then they fight into the crowd. Meanwhile, back in the ring, where there is basically still a match, we fast forward to basically the end of the match. I hope Braun Breaker's okay. He went up to the top rope and tried to do a move, do this move where he points his hands to his head. I forgot what it was called, and tries to jump off by doing like a head scissors off the top rope, but for some reason he slipped and fell. They wound up redoing it. Good for them for actually going back to redoing it. So Punk applies that kind of vice. Punk then goes to the seated position and Braun gets Punk up. He hits a double knee gut buster. Braun then hits a clothesline for an air fall. Braun then signals for the GTS. Braun then picks CM Punk up and gets Punk on top of his shoulders and counters into an ankle lock and an STF, a tribute to John Cena. Braun then crosses the ropes as he gets there, but Punk pulls him back into the center of the ring, and he reapplies the STF. Paul Heyman gets on the apron. Punk releases the hold. Punk then grabs Heyman and he punches Heyman. Punk then avoids a spear and Braun goes to the floor. Punk then goes for a suicide dive, but Braun punches Punk and hits Punk with a face plant on the floor. Braun then sets up for the apron clothesline onto the announce desk, but Braun decides to go up to the top rope. He then hits an elbow drop through the table, which that was a phenomenal elbow drop through the table. Braun then drags Punk back into the ring, and I thought it was over at this particular point. And the straps come down for the spear, but Punk hits a knee to the head. Basically, when Braun Breaker was getting ready to go for the spear, CM Punk kneed him in his head and basically kind of like laid him out. Punk then picks up Braun Breaker up for the GTS, and he pins him 1, 2, 3. Punk retains the World Heavyweight Championship. The winner of the match was CM Punk. After the match, Punk celebrates his win. He stands tall as the show comes to a close. I had a whole entire problem with his entire booking. What was the point of hyping this up for all these months? For damn near a month, basically. Excuse me. What was the point of hyping all of this up? What was the point of this? Hyping Braun Breaker up and you beat him clean? I don't understand what we're doing. And I knew, and for some reason, something in the back of my mind told me the women's tag team titles changed hands. The women's IC title changed hands. I'm like, oh my goodness. They're not going to have 3 title changes in one night. Because, I mean, God forbid, TKO has to go back in their pockets and dig up to get more money for the pyro because they're so damn cheap. When I saw this outcome, I cut it off and I basically came to do this review for you guys. This was so much of a bad outcome, bad booking. You hyped Braun Breaker up to basically beat up an old man, and you had CM Punk retain. Now, I told you guys, I'm not the booker of this show, but I told you guys I would have Braun Breaker win the world title, have Punk drop the title, have him win Elimination Chamber, and have him go to WrestleMania and face Cody Rhodes. You then would have, if Seth Rollins is able to come back, you would have Braun Breaker versus Seth Rollins at Elimination Chamber, have Seth Rollins take the title, and have Roman Reigns win the Royal Rumble, have the Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins, because we still need that story desperately. Braun Breaker could basically get his time again soon thereafter that, and you would have Roman Reigns beat Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, have Roman Reigns then carry the title into SummerSlam, and have Braun Breaker have another moment at SummerSlam and have his achievement, and we could usher in a new era of Braun Breaker. Now, that's what the storyline that I wanted to play out. I wanted CM Punk to lose the title so that I can get CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. I do not want to see Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns again. We don't need that. We can do that at the end of their careers. Right now, we need Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. And if Seth Rollins is not healthy, we could have Braun Breaker win the world title tonight and then go to the Royal Rumble and have Roman Reigns win the Royal Rumble and have Roman Reigns versus Braun Breaker for the World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania if Seth Rollins is not available. How easy is that booking? Who told them to do this? I'm perplexed about this whole thing. When I saw this, I'm like, good, this is not a burial, but this is just a good way to get people not to care. You popped all that junk for you not to win. And I hope they don't have Drew McIntyre win the championship this Friday. You already had 2 title changes this week. And no, Cody Rhodes should not drop the title for a couple weeks and Drew McIntyre carry it into the Royal Rumble just for him to lose it all over again. Put Drew McIntyre on Raw and have him go after the world title and CM Punk and have him beat CM Punk. Restart that feud. Get Drew McIntyre far away from Cody Rhodes as you can. I don't want to see it no more. This Monday Night Raw was the worst show under Triple H that I've ever witnessed. This was a disgusting show, disgusting booking all overall. None of these matches even mattered. I didn't care about La Valkyria versus Liv Morgan. Who gave a damn about that? Just not me. I didn't care about Stephanie Valkyria being out there with the boot. You should have did a backstage promo and had her attack her. Why does she have to go out in the ring and cut a promo when that's the only thing you have her do? The only thing you guys have Stephanie Valkyria do is cut promos. You're wasting her potential as Women's World Champion to the point where everybody's saying that she's boring, which she's not. She's one of the best wrestlers on the planet, and she has a ton of potential, and you're wasting her talent by having her cut promos in the middle of the ring, and that's it. She cuts promos and then she's not on the show the next week. What are we doing? The Kabuki Warriors lose the tag team titles after they've been getting beaten for weeks. What is the point of having Rhea Ripley and Io Sky win? Is Io Sky going to turn on Rhea Ripley? I mean, they hug so much, they might not ever lose these titles. I mean, they look so infatuated with each other, like, oh my god, you got to hug every time? You got to jump on Rhea Ripley every single time. Gunther's segment was good until they messed it all up. This entire show, this entire rundown was not a good show. This was a horrible show. This entire show was bad. I cannot believe how bad this show was, on top of the fact that they had this Stranger Things thing going on. Who asked for this? I didn't ask for it. Did you guys ask for Stranger Things to be there? Because I didn't. This show was abysmal. This show was horrible. This show was terrible. Everything about it screamed nothing. Everything screamed desperation. You hyped this show up for weeks, and I came on here mad every single week saying, hey guys, if you're going to pre-tape a show, make us care. I said, you know what, last week, on December 29th, on that Raw, I said, you know what, guys, I'll give them just a tiny bit of a pass. They don't deserve it, but I'll give them a pass because they're hyping up that January 5th episode. Just like last year, the Netflix debut meant nothing, and this week, this year, this show meant nothing. This was absolutely horrible, and I know I keep repeating myself, and I know that can be a little bit tiresome, but I'm just trying to drive it through everybody's head how horrible this show was tonight. This was an embarrassment, an indictment on this company, and how bad this show was, and I'm starting to lose my voice. I can't believe it. I simply cannot believe it, how bad this was. I hope I reviewed it enough for you guys. Again, this company is creatively bankrupt. I hope after I'm done with this, I can't wait to see what other people had to say in the community. I hope they rip this show a new one. I don't curse. I want to go watch people who curse. I want to go see people who just absolutely bury this. Triple H, man, what are you doing, man? I keep thinking somebody's in your ear, but man, y'all don't know what y'all doing over there. You guys have no idea what you're doing in this company. This is just a waste of time. And I keep trying to tell you guys, I love professional wrestling so much. And I care so much about the business. And when you go out there and you produce a show after you've been hyping it for weeks, and you give us absolutely nothing of substance in this show, it's an insult to the paying customer. And then people are going to say, well, if you don't like it, don't watch it. Shut up. Because you're not talking to me. The reason why we watch it is because we love it and we want it to get better. So that means that the future generations may have something to look back at and say, hey, my father or my grandfather or my great-grandfather watched wrestling, and it's always been a delight to watch wrestling, and it's always been great to watch wrestling. Professional wrestling right now in this current landscape is dead. And I don't even like using that word. This company is creatively bankrupt. For the stuff I hear about AEW, a lot of people are upset about AEW. TNA seems like the only company that seems like they're thriving in a great direction. This was absolutely abysmal, horrible, a disgrace, an idiotic show of epic proportions. I've never been this fired up since the Vince McMahon era of this show being that bad. This show was awful. Truly, I cannot lie to you at all. If I was sugarcoating, I would be up here saying, well, it's the new year, and the show just, they just need... No. I don't sugarcoat anything. This show was awful. I hope you guys enjoyed my review. I know I was angry. I almost lost my voice at the end of it. Please write in the comment section down below how you guys felt about this show. Let it rip in the comments down below. A lot of people were disappointed. Not just me, a lot of people were disappointed in this show. Go look on social media. This show was abysmal. Let me know in the comment section down below how you guys felt. I don't care if you write a paragraph. I don't care if you write an essay. Let me know in the comment section down below how you felt about this show. Thank you for watching my review. Please hit the like button and the subscribe button to the YouTube channel for more great content that will be heading your way. Until next time, guys, I will see you real soon.